Okay, as you may know, humans tend to have a habit of imagining things that they don't understand. That's where things like magic, sorceries, ghosts, conspiracy came from. Is it just a cave or someone's base? Is it a trap or really a treasure chest? Is typing Dark Souls and being scared of chess mimic? It's unknown things like that, but on a world scale. That's where the mystery came from and what makes the adventure stories attractive. And I think the biggest two are either being under or above. I said under, I mean perhaps an ancient tomb was hidden underground and has unknown treasures and creatures like those in Uncharted, Lara Croft or Indiana Jones. Those are already pretty cool, but we can go deeper, like even more underground. To be more specific, the bottom of the sea. Some say we didn't even finish exploring all of the undersea, not even the day you are watching this video. And we know the sea less than everything else or anywhere else you can speak of, even space. As it is pure dark down there, so before diving or submarine technology became advanced enough to reach the sea bottom, they are probably imagining things that are scary down there, instead of SpongeBob. It probably also has to do with how the fish looks down there. Being scared of the sea was called
Thalassophobia.
Yeah, that. The imagination must be wild. We have rituals, unknown powers, events, unknown adage old gods, Cthulhu, the king of yellow, Itojuni. His works, that kind of stuff. Two really good examples are Dredge and World of Horror. They perfectly resemble all of the above. On the other side of the sea, it's even above the sky. Space. This one is even easier to imagine how it happened. Because the sky is above everyone's head, we just look up at the sky and wonder, I wonder what's up there. And then we got planes, so we go up in the sky, look up again and wonder, I wonder what's even higher up there. And that's probably how the whole thing started. From angels and heaven, one day we knew there's no gods up there. Instead, there was nothing. And we live in this one big golf ball. So we began to imagine all kinds of things again. Aliens, other civilizations, advanced technology, space age, spaceship. Sometimes there's gods involved again, sci-fi stuff. By the way, I know I have said we know the sea less than space, but as for imagination, there's quite a lot of space to work with. Get it? Anyway, I want to talk about games with spaceflight settings, because in most sci-fi worlds, there would be a spaceship. Since the world can be so big, there's usually a need for a way to travel between planets, stars, galaxies, and so, spacecraft. Which somehow sounds more special than the usual aircraft. It's just my feelings, but how should I explain? There's a hint of romance. It's not like the usual aircraft are not attractive. Some people like civilian airplanes, some like weaponized aircraft. I think engines, jet planes are very cool. Still, they felt a bit different. I think it's because the personalized use case of spaceship in sci-fi stories. The concept of my ship. Normally, no one will have a weaponized aircraft and armored vehicles to use as their own. Let's say everyone has a Batmobile or a tank. I mean, they're pretty much the same thing, and they are all over the world. That would be the definition of danger itself. But when you put something that dangerous in space, it will feel normal. People tend to forget about it, but when we think of spaceships, we think of flying in space, fighting in space, and cool maneuvers instead of how dangerous and dedicated it needs to be. We first learned that when we send a dog up there. They know the importance of air sealing, oxygen supply, thermal radiation insulation, temperature control system. It's all about being inside a vacuum without gravity and friction. So in theory, if we crash there, no matter how big or small, there's a possibility of triggering a fatal accident. If something goes wrong and accident happens, well, it may mean suffocating, freezing, radiation poisoning, or exploding from the inside. They can all happen, or maybe they all happen at once. It's just a matter of which and when. Basically, every death you can ever think of is possible in space. And since space is so big, if there were actually a society, there's gonna be someone doing illegal stuff. Criminals or pirates somewhere. In fact, probably every other ship has weapons. So perhaps they may all be a threat. When you think about it, having a spaceship is pretty dangerous. But it has its benefit, or in other words, appeals. I mean, having laser guns was already appealing. seeing the energy shields working is also cool. And of course, there will be some sort of warp drive, perhaps in different names, but they do the same thing, which is the biggest appeal of a spaceship. You know, that's how they get to other planets, meet other life forms, other technology, so they can go further, meet more life forms, more technology, go further. It goes on and on. But something like that is purely fictional. The best we got is a rocket, which needs a control center and a whole team of people, unlike spaceships, which can go up and down all by itself whenever you want. So the only way we can experience controlling such fictional vehicles is in video games. Let's first talk about No Man's Sky. It's quite a well-known space exploration game by performing badly at launch. Because of the underperformance of content, the generated planets look too similar, and it was clearly unlike the cinematic, gorgeous feel shown in the E3 trailer. So it was once called one of the biggest scams in video game history. But today, after years of patching and new content, it has successfully gained back its reputation and reached very positive in Steam's all reviews. Very impressive. No Man's Sky is all about exploring the galaxy, discovering different unseen life forms, planets and atmospheres, finding artifacts to obtain resources, using the resources to upgrade, or learning the language of other species one word at a time. Ultimately, you will become more technology advanced to the point where you can find the secret of the universe. With that being said, I didn't do much of that. I played more of the expedition mode, which is limited time only. One of the reasons why I played more of that. During the expedition, there were different steps. Each step gave useful items, so the trip was far more relaxing. And each expedition had a little story of its own. Like, there's this one time about some sort of eldritch being watching you the whole time. Or the other time was about finding Normandy from Mass Effect. What I enjoyed the most is fishing. Maybe just me, but I enjoyed my time fishing a real fish peacefully in space. Fishing in extreme weather on other planets was a surprisingly chill experience that I never thought of before. The next one is Elite Dangerous. Maybe you have heard of this one before, maybe not. In this one, the world is set in a more believable background. What I mean by that is that there are a lot more ships around doing their things. There's a much bigger space station, which has advertisements and moving vehicles inside. It also has a communicator to greet you entering or exiting. It feels like there's a whole society living in the station. This means we don't have to gather different resources from planets to planets anymore. The only thing that matters in space society is cash. So we can do various missions or some illegal stuff. There are different missions from simple point-to-point delivery, mining, rescue, to high-risk, high-reward bounty like assassinate or massacre missions. Of course, if we want to earn big money, we have to do more difficult missions with a higher threat level or longer distance. But before that, we have to be prepared by customizing your ships, but the ship's customization can only get so far, so to take on even higher threat level missions, you have to spend a lot of credit to buy a stronger ship. And that ship will need to be customized, but you're out of credit, so it's time to take more missions. That's how the grind cycle goes, and it's basically high paced. Oh, and there's VR. VR works surprisingly well in Elite Dangerous because to make a selection, the pilot has to use the menu that is on the cockpit, and when looking at different directions in free looking, various menus will appear. When using that in VR, here's the interesting part. The controls will change to the menu just by looking at it. When you are done, you just look away. Such a simple thing, but it makes the whole flying experience so much more seamless. Speaking of which, No Man's Sky also has VR support. Perhaps it's because I don't really understand the control settings, but it required me to use the VR controllers to grab and use the in-game virtual fight stick. Using that to control a spaceship? Not great. In comparison, No Man's Sky is more simplistic and cartoonish, even for the combat and the movement, especially the movement. Elite Dangerous has a lot more buttons to use, and the flying feels better. It feels like piloting a normal airplane. Because the thrusters are controlled linearly, so you can just cut it from 100 to 0 straight away, but at least I don't know how. So you can't do maneuvers that are only possible in space, like this one. That is from the trailer of Squadron 42, the single-player version of the controversial space simulation MMO, Star Citizen. Controversial because of the years of time and amounts of money put into development, it's still an out. Wait, hold on. Let me check. Yep, still in alpha. The amount of delay on their claims of finishing time after 12 years is still buggy and sometimes straight unplayable. Well, at least it didn't kill me in the elevator, which I heard will drop the player through the floors in the earlier versions, but it doesn't work for that one time. But I'm not here to argue about that. You can do all the research on your own and decide to play or not. Or you can test the game at free fly, a free trial event for about 2 weeks, which should be at least enough time to try different kinds of ships and feel how the games play out. There are 2 things that Star Citizens impressed me the most. First is the world around you, and second, the spaceship itself. The first time into the game or whenever the server resets, the player can choose one of the 4 starting cities. I only knew one because I stayed in the city the whole time and didn't go to other planets, but other cities have very different themes, and they look compelling and convincing. I mean, they look fully developed. You can spend a large chunk of time just talking about the city. Not to mention, it also looks great outside the atmosphere. Also, the detail and quality of how everything looked did help with the immersion. You can see there are people doing yoga, there's a perfect gym, the cafe is full of customers, bartenders are standing in a bar, artworks are everywhere, and 3 whole underground floors are just for selling mobile devices. It even looks like an Apple store. Being in spawn location, the apartment, there's also a lot of small detail. It's full of little things that makes it feel like someone did live in it. Because the city is so massive, there's even a metro system to travel around the city. While riding in transit, we have time to look at the city from an outside view, which feels advanced just by how the buildings look. It's like looking at the cyberpunk-like city, but except all the crime. As for the ships, it was great to see so many different styles of spaceships. There are the more traditional looking ones, industrial ones, luxury ones with a more of a sci-fi style, and some more crazy looking ones. For example, some resemble different animals, birds, bugs, aliens. What's even more eye-catching is the size of the ships. The smallest ones are probably the fighters, slim, fast, and nimble, exactly what a fighter needs. Then there are single-person use ships, a little bit bigger but still small, but they start to have maybe some storage or a bed to lock on and off, and some different versions of the same ship like touring, exploration, medical, combat, racing, and others. After that, the size just kept getting bigger. Medium, large, capital. To be honest, I was impressed by just the sheer size of it. That's what she said. But just size is not surprising enough because it's not what we have never seen before. There are also gigantic sized spaceships in other sci-fi works. What's even more impressive is the detail of every ship, both the outside and the interior. From the landing gear to the thrusters, the cargo bay to the habitation area, the electronic area to the cockpit, everything is fully detailed. Light source, wiring, material texture, and components that can be changed are all there and looking good. Doors, cargo ramp, elevator, weapon rack, turret, toilet, all of them are interactable. I was looking at the ships like how I would be looking at cars in a car show exhibition, just exploring around inside, seeing what kind of things different spaceships has to offer. Does that affect the gameplay? Actually, no, not at all. Not all areas are usable, like the toilet, kitchen, and engineer room. They have no functions besides being as decorations. But it looks great, and it felt great finding these very different yet interesting and delicate designs. And that's all. If I have to classify these games, I would say exploration would be No Man's Sky. For having a more complicated controls and exciting action, it is dangerous. And finally, Star Citizen, also having a quite complicated system, but looks the most detailed out of all 3. When we think of space games, they usually imagine excitement and impact, but I also like the chilling aspect in them. These space games can let you roam around space, have a little adventure, and relax. There's no war between stars, no galaxy to save. It's more like being in one episode of Discovery Channel about space. You don't need to think about it too hard. Your choice doesn't affect the ending or something. Just do whatever you want. Try to slow down sometimes. Just look at the fields among the stars.